You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in at least 3 households this week. I just want to say a quick hello, welcome to everyone on YouTube who is subscribed and is listening live. We look forward to participating with you guys, and you made sure that you did check our tweets and click that little icon to let you know when we're going live. So welcome aboard. This week, it was a big week, a week that had the Eagles, the bell, yes, well done, Carts. The Eagles take down a depleted 49ers, a week that had the Chiefs have a hard-fought win against the Bagels. The statistically greatest quarterback of all time has called career for the second time. And Any Given Sunday Australia has gone global with an interview on SEN New Zealand, which was, we will get into that a little bit later. But joining me, as always, is our work experience kid turned pro at Danny Webb, AGSAU. How are you, mate?
I'm fantastic. Nursing a little bit of the sniffles, but we'll get through.
Oh, yep, as we normally do, but we won't go too far into that. And also our ever reliable TC24 at Tim Cardy, AGSAU. How are you, big dog?
Good, Macca. How are you, brother?
I'm still on a bit of a high after our little New Zealand trip. How are you boys after that?
Mate, it was good fun. It was it was a good experience. Hopefully a bit more of it in the future.
It was nice to be touched.
I know a few people. Yeah, I know a few people that watch or listen to it. So we have been told that we'll get some footage and we'll put it out there in the future, which would be interesting to see because there's a fair bit of banter from their side, which is grouse.
Yeah, it's good. Mitch loves it. He's not scared to throw a little bit of shade around. Hitting me up about the pillows in the background, or the cushions in the background.
That hit you up about it, and then he also tweeted you about it as well. So
the tweet was awesome.
Yeah, he did. I liked that. It was a nice little jab just afterwards. It was good. No,
it was good. It was good fun. Yeah,
you've kept the pillow too, which is even better.
Hey, it's not going anywhere. It's a staple. You'll be able to see it through. Go through the back catalogue. You'll be able to see it there.
It's a famous pillow now.
It's not Insta famous.
Exactly.
What's Twitter famous? What is that?
Still Twitter famous, isn't it?
Is there a version?
Definitely a thing.
Are you all over the? Holy shit! Just check. Oh, we've got a few on there already.
Yeah, we've got Matty Baxter. Said it was good to listen to us here in NZ. So Matty, obviously tuning in from New Zealand. Thanks for jumping on, mate.
9:30 over there. So he'd be joining us. We had the comment from Millsy last week that we're going to rate our drinks. We're going to have a drink on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Cardi, what are you shipping off with?
We'll touch on. I've just got a little. The recorder.
It's not little.
Big
Definitely not little.
The 500ml recorder league, the strawberry lime, just easing into it. It's a nice easy drop to start off the night. So that's where I'm at.
Danny, you said you were a little bit unwell. So are you playing by the rules, or what are you doing?
I am drinking a beautiful ginger ale myself.
Nice. Unfortunately for myself, that is still more manly than the lemon and lime bitters mixed vodka that I had to scrape through. So I do thank the missus for supplying.
Sure. Is she upset? What's she drinking if you've got that?
She's on the VBs out the back.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit more manly than I am. But no, we
are. Don't blame that on your missus. It was definitely you. It was definitely your purchase.
Yeah.
Come on, mate.
Oh, lemon lime bitters.
That's my favorite shade of pink. I'll buy those.
Yeah, Mishka is come on board. Where are they from? Doesn't even say.
Russian, really?
It does not even say. Oh, maybe we won't get them. They might be helping with the war on crime and all that kind of shit. Anyway, we're gonna get straight into, and I haven't got it up, so I'll pad a little bit. We're gonna get into this week's games before we talk about any news and injuries, especially with Dr. Danny. Were you lucky enough to sit down and actually watch the games?
Yes, I was able to get through both of them. I'm on leave at the moment, luckily enough, so I was able to watch both of them. I think, Danny boy, your experience wasn't as good.
I managed to get through most of it, but because that would be like that. I got through as much
Nah.
the circumstances that I was under.
Did well.
Yes.
You
No,
fought
you
through
did.
it.
You did. But me and Carts, we are on annuals, so we were able to get a bit more of a cast over it. So I'll go through all the stats and then we'll just have a bit of a chat. It was the first game, Philly versus San Fran, and Philly got the job done 31-7. It ended up a little bit of a blowout due to the fact that, well, everyone's saying, which I'm going to have my say on this later, but due to the fact that San Fran lost 2 of their quarterbacks, and one of them came back. So I didn't lose 2 of them, lost one, then the other, and then came back. But Jalen Hurts ended up with only 121 passing yards and only 39 rushing yards, but obviously more than enough. They did split them up front. So Gainwell had 48 rushing yards. Miles Sanders 42. Like I said, Hurts 39, and Boston Scott. What was his nickname last week, Danny? Was it the Giant Killer or something?
Yeah, the Giant Slayer.
Giant Slayer. Well, he's popped up with 21 yards on 6 carries and a touchdown, and they were all rushes touchdowns. I think did they even throw it? I don't think they did throw a touchdown. No, all rushes. So 2 for Sanders, 1 for Hurts, and 1 for Boston Scott. On the other side, like we said, they lost their QB earlier. It was the 3rd play or 4th play of the day when Brock Purdy went down. We'll talk about that. He went 4 from 4 for 23 yards. Josh Johnson came in 7 of 13 for 74 before he had a concussion and was out for the rest of the game. So there was a lot of it on Christian McCaffrey. He had 15 carries for 84 yards. So he did his bit with a Cardi. I know you saw it. It was a very, very delicious touchdown, his one. I've been a fan of him. Like, I've got his helmet up above me, but that touchdown was something to be seen, I reckon.
It was incredible, wasn't it? Like, he bounced off, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 different blokes and then won the foot race to get into the end zone for the touchdown. But, like, mate, he's just a beast. Like, he gets the Pistons, the legs pumping, and he's just hard to stop. He's only a little fella, but far out. He's obviously got super strong core and legs, and just the way he busts through tackles and breaks through and just gets extra yards. And obviously in that instance, he went forward and got the touchdown. But yeah, mate, that was awesome. I think we texted straight away. I'm just like, wow, that was impressive.
Absolutely. We will just hold your horses, Danny. I'm going to speak with Karts a bit. I know you're chomping at the bit to say how good the Eagles were, but I want to get Karts your thoughts on. Do you actually? The whole narrative afterwards has been, if Brock Purdy stayed in the game, it'll be different. Even Josh Johnson, if he had been able to, I didn't actually see the hit that got him a concussion, but if he was able to stay on the field, it could have been a different story. Because when Brock Purdy come on and couldn't throw it, over a jam tin, really. Do you think?
No, they literally lost all the ability to forward pass once Johnson went down with the concussion. And even once Johnson was in there, he was looking so shaky. Just, I don't know if it was the occasion or because he's a vet. Like, he's been in the system for quite a while, but he looked super shaky. Didn't look like they were going to, complete many passes with him out there. But to your point, to your question, so I think it was if Brock stayed out there, 49. The 49
do you think it's a different game? Like,
yeah, definitely a different game, but the Eagles just still look so strong. And the defensive side of the ball for the 49ers, they didn't really lose anyone. So they were still at full strength, and they weren't able to stop the 49ers from putting on, 31 points. So,
31.
They've been their defense has kind of been the main story throughout the year about how elite they've been, like, some of the best numbers in the league. Obviously, they weren't able to stop the Eagles. So, I don't know. Yes, it would be a different game, but I think the Eagles still get it done.
Yeah. Now, I 100% agree. Danny, hold your courses. I 100% agree. I just think, I don't know. I reckon Shanahan, there was a lot of video of him on just really losing his cool, just at the refs. Like, they're not going to change their mind. They're not going to be like, you know what, you're right, I'm going to pick up that flag. I'm going to give you back your 15 yards. Like, I just think once Purdy went down, and even Johnson went down, there was they were rushing. That was it. McCaffrey can throw. They had Juszczyk, who was actually not named as the 3rd QB. I'm sure George Kittle can throw it around. There was just, they went rush, and that was it. Or, 2 yard little dinks and see what McCaffrey can do.
I think they were still too worried about the Eagles D, and like Vince has brought up in the chat, but the Eagles defense was like they were on point too, and I think Reddick, I don't know if you mentioned him already, but he was a game wrecker on the weekend. He was getting in, putting pressure on. I think he got a couple of sacks. What is it called when they did one play with McCaffrey lining up as the quarter? Is it a wildcat or what's that called?
Yeah, no, Wildcat.
Wildcat. So they only literally properly tried that once, I think it was.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's just based off the fact that they were too worried about Philly's D and the pressure that they were able to put on. And I don't know, they were just nervous that it was potentially for the turnover, going for those sort of wildcat plays. Like a lot of the commentary and tweeting and stuff at the time was like, why aren't the 49ers trying to do more? But I just think they were genuinely just really worried about that Eagles D.
But what's the point of being worried? You're just going to let it play out to be a 31-7 game. Like, you might as well have a crack and go down 40-7.
Yeah, I suppose, but I don't know. It's a tough call, but yeah, I don't know. Watching the game, I just felt like they didn't throw it in like they're like you said. The San Fran defense was still, they didn't have anyone too big missing. I don't think like the big names were still there. Was it Greenlaw or Warner? One of them went down early. Looked like he had a stinger on his shoulder, but he got straight back into the game and kept playing. Yeah, that was early. That was in like
first 2 or 3 tackles, I reckon.
Yeah.
And it didn't look good, but he came back
and he was fine. So
yeah,
it's not really an excuse, I don't think.
And like they put 31 on him still. So, and like you said, the Philly defense. What did Hassan Reddick 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. They had 5 tackles for loss overall. San Fran had 7 tackles for loss. So they were. I just don't know. They did lose the plot though. Like they were giving away yards almost for fun. Like there was one, I reckon Philly had a punt and they got roughing the kicker. So 15 yards. Philly kept the ball, ran down and scored. Early on, which could have been a game changer, I'm sure Danny would bring it up. The catch down the sideline. As soon as he got up, Devonta Smith, and started doing these runs and, quick, get down, I'd be looking at that. He's dropped the ball. He hasn't caught that. I'll be throwing the flag. Let's have a look at that. But they didn't. I know it was early, but they went on to score from there. Does that change the game? Like, realistically, if they throw the flag there, San Fran get the ball back, Purdy probably doesn't get hurt in 2 or 3 series time. So I'm saying that it's mate, what's his coach? I've forgotten the coach's name already.
For who?
For San Fran.
Shanahan.
It's his fault.
He
should have thrown a flag. They would have got the ball earlier. So it's his fault that Purdy got injured. That's mine.
Yeah, true.
That's my take. All right, Danny. Off you go, mate.
Let him loose.
Go.
No.
This is the only bit he'll talk for the whole night, but go.
I'm not going to go on too much. The Devontae Smith thing, like that was a clear message, like him knuckles himself. And but like, why wouldn't that? When he potentially may not have caught it, why would you not have a signal and try and get the whole team down?
The whole game would have changed. There would have been a higher chance that Purdy never would have got injured.
And I feel for him getting injured. He's done his
6 months, but probably
more likely 6 to 9 months for recovery, and then even then, they don't know if he's going to make a full quarter.
He'll make a full recovery
as far as life goes, but as far as his throwing arm, it's still the outcome of that, which is quite.
Philly fan.
I said when we were on the radio the other day, I wanted to see Brock Purdy play the whole game.
As soon as he went down,
the whole team was like, "Wolf." Because they're off. The
49ers have a good enough defense.
The Philly shouldn't on them as easily as they did.
Was the end. So they probably could have kept on putting on more points
as the game went on. But the fact it just showed that Brock went down. They were like almost.
I think everyone is competitive on the
defensive end as what they had to be.
We're saying that it was going to be a game of defense.
When you don't have your quarterback or not. Still 100% could have been in a game of defense, which it wasn't.
impressive things.
So obviously, seeing Jalen Hurts,
He was like 39 yards or whatever it was, but
he was
down and kind of taking it after he got his yards.
he was still going in there. Even though the throw probably shouldn't have counted to Devontae.
Perfect time, hit perfectly. It was a decent amount of distance. So
I feel like
what
he's letting on because he's still saying that he's still.
As far as the eye test can go, he's looking pretty.
Looking like it's not going to really bother him in 2 weeks' time.
The old pub test. Pass the pub test.
The pup.
Pub test.
Yeah. But and that was, I don't think we can state how big that pass to Devonta Smith was. 4th down as well, real early, just not a game changer, but just a tied setter almost, It just gets things moving. I can see Carts laughing. I'm presuming there's a bit of chat on the live stream. We'll get to it in 1 second, Carts. I do like going back to the fam and seeing what they think. But overall, I think awesome win for Philly. There wasn't, I don't know if they were they favourites or San Fran favourites?
Only by 2.5.
Nah, Philly were favourites, but only by 2.5.
It was a really close line.
Yeah, but I don't know. The general feel that I thought was it was the Brock Purdy show, and San Fran were going to come in and roll you. So to get that not a monkey off your back, but to just come out and actually play well and beat them must be you must feel pretty good about going into 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Of a trial, still like back a couple of touchdowns.
That's without their defense crumbling as they kind of did, would have been
Chiefs, but I'm sure we'll get to that next
coming week.
We will. Carts, what are you all over on the out of the fan, mate?
So there's a few things. There's a couple of things that have popped up from Megs in particular that we'll touch on after we've done the games. But Brendo was just wondering if all the big boy t-shirts are in the wash, and what are your young fellas wearing if you've got their t-shirt on?
No, I just got out of the gym, mate. I had a bit of nervous energy before tonight. I thought tonight was going to be a big podcast, so I did think I put it on there. And thanks for noticing. Are you saying
that's an extra large and you've just got a big pump on?
Nah, it's extra small, and I don't have that much of a pump.
Yeah, that's better.
And I'm really enjoying my vodka. Thank you, Brendo. Yeah.
Oh, you're extra medium.
It was a genuine chuckle from you. Yeah, that's all right. Hey, it's still, I'm pretty happy with it. Pretty happy with it. The only one that has a proper, I know Maxie's got a good little gym set up, but I've got a proper gym and I don't use it enough. But that's all right. We're getting off track. We'll get on to his Maxie's Bagels. Maxie's Bagels and Brendo's Chiefs. We didn't. This was the. I won't say what it was because it's kind of our little group thing, but it was an AGS Cup leading into the AGS Super Bowl because we have two going ahead of each other again, which is awesome.
It's the AGS Bowl as well, which we'll say.
Yes, the Webb Bowl. I like it. We haven't really given that much, but we will next week for sure. They got the job done, Brendo's Chiefs, 23-20 over the Bengals. Patty Mahomes, 29 from 43, 326 yards, just a lazy 2 touchdowns to go with that. And Pacheco, I said that he was going to have a big game, and he did. 10 carries for 26 yards. He's had an absolute rip snorter there, but they didn't rush the ball too much because Patty Mahomes was just tossing it around everywhere on his one leg. Who was their receivers? They would have had a few big... Oh, that's probably one thing that Carter's going to bring up, I'm sure. They lost 2 or 3 of their wide receivers during the game. But three. Yes. But Marquez Valdez-Scantling stepped up, 6 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown. And he had a pretty big play where he was held down the field to keep him moving as well. So you could almost say 7 receptions. Travis Kelce, just a standard 7 for 78. I did call that one, and a touchdown. Pacheco He did all right. 5 receptions for 59. So he's had nearly 100 between the two. So good on him. But the Bagels, I should say, didn't quite live up to the hype. It was still a cracking game, so I'll probably be a little bit harsh there. But Joey B, 26 of 41 for 270, 1 touchdown, but 2 pretty disappointing interceptions during there. I'm sure Maxie can agree. And he was their biggest rusher, 4 carries for 30 yards. Mixon, who I was expecting a little bit more out of, only the 19 yards on 8 carries. T. Higgins had a pretty big game. I was watching, and pretty much the commentators, it was a reverse curse. They said T. Higgins has touched the ball twice and has gone for 5 yards, and his next 4 receptions went for 75 yards. So he's ended up with 6 receptions, 83 yards, and a bloody nice little touchdown in there too.
That was pretty funny. That was almost instantaneous. They just mentioned how he'd only had the one reception so far for the game, and then it was bang, 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 like he got the next 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like the number one target for the next few plays. But
I don't know if they were doubling Jamar or not, but he ended up with 6 for 75. He still played pretty well. But yeah, definitely that. It was probably a 2 or 3 set series. T. Higgins was the man, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, they were definitely doubling Jamar. That was pretty evident. Like he was pretty well covered most of the game.
But yeah, it was the game that we thought. But the biggest thing that I think has come out of it, and Cardi, I'll get your opinions first, is probably the umpiring. Do you think it was up to standard or not quite?
I think, and so it goes hand in hand what I'm about to mention, but the Bagels, like they seemed off, and like they were giving away so many silly penalties. Yeah, the refs seemed pretty flag happy, and that's been mentioned a bit. They were a very flag happy crew, and there was a couple of interesting decisions that happened. Mainly the replay 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
I think that was the most sort of dubious one, but
it was definitely most evident anyway.
Sorry?
It was the most evident because it was like...
Yeah, but like there's that zoomed out footage of the ref trying to come in and stop the play just before it started, just before Mahomes threw it. But they snapped the ball. But yeah, the way that all went down was weird. But like, you know, that penalty late to, is it Osai? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah,
yeah. That was clearly there. Like they were just giving away stupid penalties like consistently throughout the game. Like they were their own worst enemy. Like I was getting frustrated for them and like thinking about Maxi watching him. I knew he would have been super frustrated watching him. Like they were just giving away stupid penalties and like stopping themselves from getting any sort of momentum. Like it felt like, you know, they were, you know, that far away from sort of breaking the game apart or, you know, just getting a quick drive going and scoring a touchdown. But just, yeah, silly penalties just held them back all game. So, yeah, the reffing may have been a bit ticky-touch at some points and flag happy, but I don't know. The Bagels felt like their own worst enemy to me.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Danny? How was the refs in your eyes?
Just with that whole, like, the call on 3rd and 9 where the ref went over waving his hand. And then they're going to be on, like, a 4th down.
And the punt team came out on the field. Like, it was a long time before they rectified. Because all they were trying to do was get 2 seconds back on the clock. Like, that was all they were trying to fix, was just get time back on the clock. So there's been a few arguments that they could have let that play run and went to fruition. It was a incompletion or whatever. Put the time back on the clock then. It's still 4th down. They're still going to punt. Nothing changes. Put the 2 seconds back on the clock then.
Yeah. And surely because of what has happened, the rule change out of all of this is the fact that
the play's already ran, just put 2 seconds on.
You shouldn't replay the play. Because that's all it was for.
Yeah.
There wasn't a false start. It was just a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
that
but do you think if it becomes a bit more dubious though? Like,
how do you mean?
Like, what if a situation where so they were 2 seconds under or 2 seconds over?
I think they needed to put 2 seconds back on the clock.
Okay, so what if the clock ran down to 0 and we weren't quite sure? You know, was it within that 2 seconds or was it outside that 2 seconds? And you know, Pacheco runs down the side and scores a touchdown. They're going, half the team would be going, you know what, it was within, it's play on. Like, we don't change the rules. Like, it's going into a bit of a grey area there, wouldn't it?
But that's a different situation. Like,
if the clock was at that point...
Oh, I agree. But I'm saying, if you're going to change the rules, you're going to be prepared for everything that's going to be coming.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if it's a rule change. Like, I don't know if they can let that go and just adjust the clock later.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the biggest thing that'll come from it and should come from it, and which I've known for a little bit, but I'm sure you boys have probably only just found out recently, is the referees aren't full-time. They are guys with normal jobs that, you know, do podcasts during the week and then they show up and referee the games. Yeah, they're soon to be. And then they show up and ref. And, like, they've got their own little teams and they travel around together. I think it's only... don't quote me, 17 actual refs per position. So you think there's 16 games, isn't there? Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they double up on games and things like that, but surely they're making X amount of millions of dollars a year that you can say, look, there's $2 million. Go make the refs. Like, they can practice in the off season. They can do reviews make it full time. Surely.
Well, there's enough stuff happening in the off season for them to be full time professionals. Like, you go to training camps and you ref for the teams that are during training camps or any sort of practice matches. Like, and anytime there's not games or anything like that going on, they're studying, getting better. There's definitely so much cause for them to be full time, professional referees. Like, I think it's a similar situation here in Australia, isn't it? A lot of the umpires, it's their second job kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the AFL.
It is. I was waiting for Danny. Come in, Danny.
So I just got to be announced.
We learned that the other day.
That really should be a full-time position.
And the fact that the officiating in this game as a whole, like Cass was saying, was very flag.
Everyone on Twitter was blowing up saying that it was rude. And
there was misplays and all that.
Oh, we'll get onto that. Don't worry.
Yeah, there was
whole last play and all that sort of stuff.
But potentially could be avoided if they were full.
More time to practice, watch more footage,
and it's literally getting paid to re-officiate, or even have a video on site as well to be like, this should be happening or stuff like that. They're all got
to.
So even if you had a
referee better who can sit there and
replays
and like that, I think it'd be incredibly important.
But yeah, having them full time is a must.
Danny, I'll stay with you. Like you just said, flag happy. I got no problem with the refs being flag happy if they're there. Like, I hate the word flag happy. If they're committing the penalties, then call the penalties. But I hate that being they threw too many flags. I was like, no, well, fuck, the Bagels were giving away too many penalties. It's their fault. It's not the ref's fault that he was holding him on the play and or tripped him up or pass interference. That's not the ref's fault. Like, I hate that it's flag happy refs.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I think they got to call it at both ends. So if they call,
you got to be consistent, 100% consistent.
And they're missing flags
at the they need to be calling it at both ends. So that was why I was throwing around.
Are the NBA refs full time?
I'd say so because
probably makes it a little bit hard, doesn't it? Yeah. No, fair enough. Besides that, like you said, Osaya, I think his name was. That was a huge play at the end of the game. I don't reckon Butker hits the kick if he doesn't have that 15 yards. He's only young.
Weren't they?
Yeah, the commentators kept saying how blustery it was, and 50, 55 yards is getting pretty big kick at that point. I don't know if it was into his face or across.
Pre-game, neither kicker attempted
over 50,
close to 50. Yeah.
Was it a cross breeze or a straight up and down?
I'm not sure. Must have been a bit of a cross breeze.
Yeah, because you think if it's straight up and down, it's favouring one end, isn't it? But I do feel I think he's only 22, maybe 23 or so.
Yeah, I think second season.
Yeah, so you feel for him, and it happens like that. But it was a clear foul.
Hindsight's 2020, and we get 50 replays of it after the game, and you can see Mahomes is clearly out of bounds. But he's a big fella. He's at full speed, just trying to chase him and get him out as quick as he can, and he just that's that split second decision. Obviously, wrong, and gave away that penalty that ultimately cost him the game. But you can't really hang him out to dry. I think it was definitely it wasn't that one instance that cost him the game. It was a series of things throughout the game.
Yeah.
And
he still had a cracking game. He had 5 tackles, 3 solo tackles, and a tackle for loss, 2 quick QB hits, probably not including the one that was a foot over the sideline. But it sucks that it all comes down to, looks like it comes down to one play. But like I said, there's so much in the game.
It's so easy to just boil it all down to that one play when it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was it was a series of things throughout the game.
And that's the thing as well, like here at the moment, always sitting
He's probably not even looking down at the ground. But in his mind, he needs to get him out of bounds, so he doesn't get any more yards.
Yeah.
tough positions to be in.
It's been
He's trying to do exactly right. He's trying to do the best thing he could.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like you said, what if he leaves him and he scampers for another 10 or 15 anyway? Like,
And
That's
that's
a hard
what you would have done if you had the
how to.
yeah.
You should have just pushed him
Tough
into Harrison Butker, and that would have made it a lot different, I reckon.
He's on the wrong sideline.
Ah, yeah. Did you see the old bloke get absolutely smashed too?
Yeah,
I don't know who he was, but
that was the Bengals sideline. But yeah, he disappeared under Osai.
Oh, and I reckon
he
it
was
was
there, and then he was gone. I was like, oh no, he's just killed man.
Headed
And
into the bleachers. And,
the hyperextension on his knee. Did you see that?
yeah, didn't
He
look
did
nice.
well to get up and not. I saw that, and I was immediately worried. I was like, oh no, he's done something serious. But he was able to get up, and there's obviously been nothing come out from it. But looked bad.
That will lead me
Is
into
there something else?
actually, no. I'll leave it for questions. Yeah, exactly right. I'll leave it for questions without notice, that one. Even though that's a little bit of notice.
Does that give us a bit of notice then?
No, not really. I don't think you know where I'm going. Do you have any more to say about this one, or are we going to speak about that old boy in Dr. Danny?
That's it for me, I think.
Danny, you got any more to say about the Bagels? The last little rib into Maxi, or not?
So it's a tough watch for us both because you
You're already up and about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always want to see teams do well.
They lost themselves a game.
I think well and truly before that.
The game's real.
Yeah.
I think. So
They did.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Thank you for calling Dr. Danny's office.
We'll go straight into Dr. Danny's office.
Yes.
The doctor is in the building.
That was elite. Oh, that was so good.
Do you have an injury report for us? Probably just to the two teams that we've got coming up in the next week.
Yeah.
that actually caught me by surprise.
and also chopped.
That was
Look,
really good.
Yeah,
Quickly,
it looked like
I'm
it's
just
thrown a
gonna
little
try
bit, but
Yeah.
A little bit because we've still got
A week and a half before the action.
There's a bit there.
And all this is probably going to change. So Hertz has come out and said
shoulder. Guess that earlier.
this is
Landon.
Dixon is done. He's still out with his groin cast.
His hip.
Robert Quinn,
Avonte Maddox toe, and then
Aaron Sip
Toe.
been actually been
reserve,
which
is
is
great. So there's actually discussions.
as for us anyway as Aussie fans. He will actually replace
For the Super Bowl. So they're
bring it both. They can discuss and try and figure out what's going to happen over there.
He's an option at least.
Yeah, he's an option. And I guess I can see how
They both go and practice and almost pick the better one of the day, but that'll be for all us Australian fans that come back and actually
the field for the Super Bowl. Next week,
the more Aussies, the better.
Was that the last regular season game, Danny, when Sipos got hurt making that tackle?
week 14.
Yeah, I was going to say it was 3 or 4 weeks
earlier.
out, I reckon.
Yeah.
No, it was 3 or 4 weeks out.
Well, he went to the punter. It got. And then
The ball was like
Yeah, it did. It got it was an awesome. He picked it up and kept running and shit. It was an awesome play, but he hurt himself.
Yeah.
He made a good tackle.
Yeah, and then ended up picking up the ball.
Yeah, I think the gap got injured. So
It's
it's been a
well, that he's been out, but us Aussie fans do.
next injuries for the
Chiefs Abdomen pelvis didn't practice in Thursday, and he's doubtful to play in the Super Bowl.
So it's not looking too good.
Juju Smith,
His knee.
Cardi,
Cardi's Tony ankle and Legarius knees.
is out with a concussion.
That was a great effort.
I love that Danny
Yeah,
gets
that's
stuck
great.
with having to read all the names.
Oh, those Jeez, not fantastic. Not fantastic for.
Oh, they're tricky, and throw Marquez in there as well, and poof, you got a mouthful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Old Travis Carlesi's.
And also, is there any news on Willie Gay? Any boy? Linebacker for the Chiefs, Willie Gay. Any news there?
I've seen
Yes, but like I said,
out for the big game, so
as this goes on.
Yeah, plenty of time still.
Yeah, we will speak about it more next week. We haven't really locked in a date what we're going to do next week, have we? We'll discuss it. But there is some news that has come out earlier today, which I'm sure everyone's wondering why we haven't spoken about it. But I did bring it up at the top that the statistically greatest quarterback of all time has hung up the boots for a second year in a row. And
Why
this
do you say it like
time,
that? Why do you say it like that?
as in statistically greatest, or
Yeah, why you got to put a caveat on it?
Well, I think I said it for those who saw us on SENZ. He's definitely year by year. So I'll finish what we're saying. Tom Brady has retired again.
Yes.
If anyone who didn't pick up who the statistically greatest quarterback. So you can always argue who the GOAT is, but you can't argue that he is he's the best of all time. You can't argue that. He's got the most rings. He's been to the most Super Bowls. He has the most passing yards. He's got the most passing touchdowns. All of those things, you can't argue that. So I think it's easy just to say he's statistically the GOAT, but I will not. I think he's still the GOAT. Like, he's still the best. As far as the game goes, he is the best and the greatest that's ever played it at that position. I don't think you can argue that at all. He's hung up the boots on the same day, funnily enough, Fed first both years. Yeah. I found that a bit interesting. But this time it just feels like to me that it's a bit more final. Last time it went through the whole charade and, he put out a big tweet and all that kind of stuff. This time it looked like he was sitting on his private beach somewhere, bastard, and just said, you know what? It was a little bit emotional. I watching it going, I feel for you. But, he's pulled up the boots, and I'm sure I've had a few more memories than you boys have had, but what are your memories, Carts, of the old TB12?
Yeah, well, obviously going just on that absolutely dominant Super Bowl run, arguably the last 2 decades have been dominant for the Patriots, but it was just the Bill and Tom show, and I think that was probably a real growth period for NFL in Australia too, off the back of what Tom was doing. I think winning his 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots. I think I definitely was probably introduced to NFL through the Patriots and through Tom Brady. That's the name that you hear sort of growing up. Here in Australia. So obviously as the game is, it's got a big following, but I think it had a real surge through those 2000s to 2010s, in that sort of period. And I attribute a lot of that to Tom Brady. And he's a more of an old school pocket passing quarterback. Like, we see a lot of the new guys coming through the new class. They like to use their feet. They like to rush. They get out of the pocket a lot more. There's not really, probably your boy Aaron Rodgers is maybe one of the last sort of bastions of that style of quarterback. But, Rodgers can still use his feet a bit. But, that traditional, sort of pure pocket passing quarterback, game managing quarterback, Brady's the last of them to go now, essentially. And I think, as you said, touching on it, obviously he retired last year. It felt like that one got taken out of his hands a little bit. I think that news got broken by someone else before he got the chance to get it out first. So this one, it feels a bit more right. He was able to do it a little bit more on his own terms, got his own Instagram video out before, anyone else broke the news. Good timing. Did it in the week leading up to the Pro Bowl. So, you know, before a lot of the Super Bowl noise. So I think the timing's right. Like, I think he's done. I didn't, you know, obviously we all thought he was going to play next year, but just after watching that video and everything, I think he's done properly this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny, what are your memories?
Yeah, well, so like Cass was saying, household name as far as like
Everyone knew who Tom Brady was, and that was
to watch what he did. Then to go to 10 Super Bowls, have his 7 rings. It's just
well, yeah,
like, you know, he had the
finger for a little bit there.
there, and he was the sort of player you just never.
And just to see his impressive dominance, it was a pleasure to be able to watch it.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, and like you said, Carter, it was always in the growth of Australia there. If before ESPN and everything was jumped on board and showed games week to week, the Super Bowl would still be, you'd still see the Super Bowl, and he was in 10 out of, you know, or 14 or 16 or something like that. So we were always seeing his face, and he was the one that was, you know, presented to Australia, I guess.
Yeah. And like, just onto your point of like, you know, the GOAT argument and stuff. And like, you know, I've stirred up the hornet's nest a little bit in the chat, but with him being Tom Brady and what he was and what the Patriots were, they were getting everyone's best every week coming for him. And so for him to hold up and do so well and be so successful with everyone bringing it every single week, I think like that's got to be really looked at and like really emphasized, that everyone's bringing it. Like, you know, it's like, oh, we got the Patriots and Tom Brady this week. You know, we are bringing our A game, and like, you know, he stood up time and time again against everyone's A game. So I think that's got to be emphasized a bit more. Like that is definitely a thing and a factor that teams do get up for big occasion games and stuff like that. And playing Brady and the Patriots would be a big occasion game for a lot of teams.
Like I said, they're preparing for, especially in the AFC East, they are the start of the year. They're going, we want Brady. We've got to take down Brady. So they're spending their whole offseason going, all right, how do we beat New England, and how do we go from second, third, fourth in the AFC East to actually have a chance of making the playoffs?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's coming out that
but do not.
Yes.
No, I wanted you, Danny. I wanted you. So come for me.
It's
don't say that to her.
The Patriot is said that he's
contract for Brady to come back so he can retire as a Patriot,
which I think is huge.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard operation, and then I'm sure they'll put up a statue. They'll retire number 12. I don't think
they did that with Edelman just recently, didn't they?
Did they put a statue up for him?
No, the 1 day contract. I don't know about a statue.
Yeah.
No, that's just a nice way to finish off if you want to go back to your I don't know, your franchise club or whatever you want to call it. Like, because when they enter the Hall of Fame, they don't have to nominate a team, do they?
Not. I imagine if they played for multiple teams, they wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing.
I'll back you.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, but if we do look at some of his stats, the biggest thing I think.
Have you got some in front of you?
I do have a couple. Why? What do you want?
Oh, I was going to say reel them off because it's so impressive.
So the biggest stat of all is 45 years old, I think. The fact that he's still able to play at 45. Carts, what's that feel like, mate?
Cherry right, mate. Bounce out of bed every morning.
Yeah, you do. You bounce out probably more than me. But so he had a 23-year career, 7 rings. He's passing stats. So regular season, he had the most, 89,214 yards, 649 touchdowns. Adding the playoffs, he had 13,400 and another 88 passing touchdowns. So over 100,000 yards. 5 Super Bowl MVPs out of his 7 wins and 10 appearances. 3 regular season MVPs. The most wins of all time, regular season, 251. And I think the most starts of a player as well. And like even the fact that he had something like 48 playoff games or 48 playoff wins, which is like 3 seasons.
48 appearances, 35
Appearances.
wins, the most of anyone.
But that's another 3 seasons on top of
Yeah, exactly right.
which is huge. So
it's incredible. Just raw numbers alone. Like listening to that, it's like, whew.
Yeah, it's incredible. But do not feel too sorry for him though, Danny, because he's got a lazy. He earned 330 or 323 million in his 23 years, besides all the extras that you do earn. He's got a $375 million contract with Fox Sports waiting for him
for 10
years. He's followed the Peyton Manning Omaha Productions. He's got his own. It's called 199 Productions, which I reckon, Karch, you can guess why it's called 199.
Nah, you're gonna have to enlighten me.
He was picked 199 in the draft.
Oh, of course.
Jeez, I thought that was pretty easy, but
that was some low hanging fruit. That was. My head was stuck in the stats. Sorry.
So he's got 199 production. So it'll be interesting to see who jumps on top of that. I'm sure Fox will probably jump on that, considering he's going there. He's got the Brady brand clothing, and he's got TB12 Sports Health and Wellness. So I reckon he's probably going to be doing all right.
He's not struggling.
Nah, and he's probably going to be busy enough in the off seasons.
Yeah, well, he's got. I think essentially he's an analyst. For that's what the
100%.
What's it called?
He'll be going into the booth as an analyst. Pretty much, he'll be end up Tony Romo. What Tony Romo has been doing.
Yeah,
he'll start as an analyst and end up as a caller.
Yeah. So who's the Fox? Is it Greg Olsen?
Olsen. He's taken his spot. Olsen's lost the job.
But he's awesome. He's so good. Before this all sort of came to a head and Brady retired and it was going to be apparent that he was taking Olsen's spot, I really liked Olsen's commentary and he's a really good sort of at explaining the plays and breaking him down and stuff like that. So stiff for Olsen, but they've pulled out 375 mil. He's gonna be getting in there.
Sorry, mate, we got Tom Brady.
Yeah,
but 375 now. All the
It goes back to the whole household name thing. Everyone,
world, most Tom Brady, everyone in the world.
He's very marketable, so it's probably a smart thing by Fox.
Hey, Danny, who did Greg Olsen play for?
And what position?
You're not new to this. I'd say that I am.
Not even going to have a stab in the dark.
To answer Vince's question, he said, what about taking Chris Collinsworth's spot? I think he's been contracted to the end of 2024.
Oh, fuck, look at you go.
So probably won't take Collinsworth's spot just yet. But Olsen's definitely getting a job somewhere because he's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think he started as the Carolina Panthers, home state caller. He probably worst comes to worst. Yeah, worst comes to worst, he'll go back to that. Just like the local coverage.
Like he was the Panthers, broadcaster or whatever.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah.
That's how he started.
Oh, Chris Meggs doesn't like Collinsworth. Damn.
Oh, Jesus.
Collinsworth's his voice is kind of iconic, I reckon.
He is.
Yeah. That's funny. Anyway, sorry. Move on.
No, you're right. But before we get into the rest of the news and the coaching,
it's time for questions without notice.
I have so many buttons I've got to push now. I've got to stop coming up with segments. But the questions, we have thrice of them. Oh, actually, I added one, so we've got 4 of them. What's 4 in fancy words?
Ooh.
Quattro of them.
4.
I'll ask the one that I don't have written down so I don't forget it. It was to go back to the Asaya play. Karts, I'll start with you. How was he able to do that and make sure that he was out of bounds? Because we all know that the NFL is rigged. So how was he able to time it so perfectly that he was 2 feet out of bounds and got him just at that time?
I'm not sure what your angle is here. I'm not even gonna. I don't know.
Well, there's been so much talk since then.
To answer your question, the NFL is not rigged.
It's not rigged? Are you sure?
Not rigged.
There's so much talk about it being rigged. It's bullshit, isn't it?
Oh,
It's just salty supporters, mate.
how hard,
Danny.
Big NFL.
like, honestly, how hard would it be
Oh,
Impossible. How would anyone keep their mouth shut about it if they actually
to do it? Two, about the like the umpires.
missing calls?
How
How
can
can also throwing calls that they're not seeing?
or have it scripted?
yeah.
It is possible.
It is so far fetched.
The amount of money that they would have to pump into that. Yeah. Oh, huge. Maxi was leading the charge. The amount of money that they would have to throw into be able to rig it, you could put into making full-time referees, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So if they can't even have full time,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. There's a simple fix, and there's the money waiting right there, all the payoff money.
Yeah, perfect. Well done. Well done. All right. So the three real questions that I did have. Danny, we'll start with you. Flag football this weekend. How do you reckon it's going to go with trying to save the Pro Bowl weekend?
Like with the projection of flag football,
potentially being in the Olympics, hopefully it's going to draw a lot more eyes onto it.
Basically, if more people are watching it in the Pro Bowl weekend,
And they can see how enjoyable it is to watch. It might actually pump a lot more focus.
it's pretty big in the States. There's like a lot of the juniors grew up playing it and stuff like
That, but it would be good for it to have
more of a worldwide
wide
view.
view of it looking at flag football. So if anything, it should not
That probably boost the numbers for flag football.
football moving forward.
Carts?
Nah, totally agree with Danny Boy. Obviously, there's a lot of focus on the junior programs playing flag football and building it up that way, particularly here in Australia. Our chat with Wade a couple of weeks ago made that pretty evident. But in terms of saving the Pro Bowl, it can only help it. I think like that game was irrelevant. Like it was just a nothing game. So at least hopefully it's a way of being a little bit more competitive and keeping it entertaining. So I think it's going to be a positive thing. And like you said, with Omaha Productions at the helm, I'm expecting good things.
Did you get across they played some games today, including longest drive, like some jug ball catching. What's that game they play with the balls? Dodgeball. Did you get across it today, Carts?
No, I haven't seen much. I just saw the end of the longest drive. I think AFC took it out with a 320-yard drive. I can't remember who walloped that, but
Bomb.
It was a bomb. Haven't seen much more. I saw Matty Baxter's brought it up in the chat, but I saw Derek Carr's funny comment.
Yeah,
He had a pretty good day in like the skills challenge, I think. But other than that, what's that?
That was the other one I couldn't think of. It's the QB skills.
Yeah. Other than that, I haven't seen too much of it yet.
Yeah. And then they had a Thursday night, Friday for us, and then it goes to Sunday. So Monday morning, I imagine it'll go for a few hours. You'll be actually out of sea. I don't know how they're actually going to run it, but there's a few more challenges, and then the flag football to finish, I imagine.
Yeah, that's obviously going to be their marquee event for the weekend. So that should be finishing it off surely. So that'll be Monday for us.
Monday for us. Correct.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I'll definitely tune into that then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm keen to see how it actually goes. Like it's more of a game of skill than brute force. That's why three are going to get a gig and go to the Olympics. That's Wade has pretty much guaranteed it, which is awesome.
Yeah, nice.
It's great. Just got to get the body right, and we'll be sweet. But yeah, not at all. We'll earn our way there, but we will have sessions with Jesse Williams beforehand to make sure that we're primed.
Yeah, that's the plan.
One free session.
Well, not 4 a.m. in the morning, though.
Hey, if you want to play in the Olympics, you get up at 4 a.m.
All right. Fine. All right. Question number 2. Is that for you, Carts?
Yeah, my turn.
Should Fox Sports put Tom Brady...
We're on to the Asahis now, just for anyone wondering.
Oh, nice little drop.
Keep it relevant.
Should Tom Brady be put straight into the booth by Fox for the Super Bowl?
No. Get him on the pregame halftime report, not in the booth.
Danny, do you have anything not as straight down the line as that one?
No, I couldn't agree more. Like he played this season. He doesn't need to be in the booth straight away.
Yeah. I imagine it would hurt. I wouldn't want to be.
Yeah. Well, he would have wanted the Bucks to be there. So do you really want to be in the booth straight away? I think
Arsenal post game.
throw a mic in front of him.
Yeah, I think just being the ultimate professional that Brady is, I think he'd want a full season under his belt before he's jumping in the booth. Biggest game of the year, most eyes on him. I don't think he'd want to be putting himself in there. Like, they probably do practice mock games and stuff in the off season and stuff like that. Like, so to jump straight from playing into the booth, I don't think he'd want anything to do with it anyway. So, but nah, definite no from me.
The only thing I could think that Fox would want to push it is, I don't know how many there is, but they rotate who has the Super Bowl. So this year's Fox, next year might be NBC. The year after that might be ABC. So it could be 2 or 3 years before he's on again. That's the only thing I could think they'd be going, let's fucking get him in there. Let's make him earn his 375.
Nah, if that's the case, like we said, pre-game, halftime report, but definitely not in the booth.
Let him get some reps.
He's had 3 years, but it should be perfect.
Fair enough. All right, lucky last for you, Mr. Danny Webb. Do you see a career in the media after our SENZ interview with the run home team of Mitch McClenaghan and Kirsty Stanway?
A career for us in the media.
Yeah, yourself.
Is this a question without notice about ourselves?
Yeah. Just want to know your thoughts. How did you go? How did you like the experience, Danny? I thought it was good fun.
Experience.
We're on such a buzz after.
The photos fixing on the show afterwards. No, it was good fun.
If anyone wants to put us in the media again, give us a call. We'll come.
Richie, Danny.
Oh, here we are. We are very cheap. Very cheap. What about you, Cass? Do you see yourself a career in the media?
Oh, I couldn't echo Danny's sentiments any harder. It was good fun. They were great. They were really good hosts and interviewers. But no, it was good fun. And anything we can do to grow our brand, we'll bloody jump on it as long as it's, within a certain few parameters that we've probably got. But no, it was good fun. I'd love to do more of it.
Well, they have said they'll have us back on, which is good for us. We must have done something right.
At what point is it considered harassment? How many times do you have to message them trying to get us back on?
I hope not too many, because I'm already up to probably double figures. But no.
To your point there, Mac. Any of the fam listening, make sure you jump on. I think we've tweeted the interview. Have we? Perhaps not yet.
Not yet. We have
some audio, maybe some video coming. So,
we have audio and footage coming, so you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to get around us and
get around it once that all goes live through all the social pipelines. So yeah, jump on board.
We're going gangbusters,
Hey. No, they were awesome. Like, honestly, they really were. They pumped us up heaps too, so that was great.
Oh, geez, they knew their shit.
Yeah, they were good.
Definitely did the homework about that.
I loved the junior boy turned senior. That was so good on you.
Mitch was big on that one. That was great.
Yeah.
He didn't want to let it go either. He refused to call you Danny.
Yeah, no. I sent them the link, but then I've heard said senior boy. I was like, on the work experience. No, it was so good. Yep. It was really
I've changed your name in my phone, just so you know.
That's the pillow there, Mix.
That is. Yeah, it's a lovely.
You want to know what's funny? What's funny? I thought about clearing off the pillows before the stream, and I was like, "Nah, I've had them on every other thing. Don't worry about it." It's one of the things he zeroed in on, so that was pretty funny.
Now that I look at your background, how many of those books have you read, Katz?
Oh,
none.
Definitely all of them at least twice. Some of them 3 times.
Cool.
It was all your spare time.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's it. All the spare time.
I don't watch TV. I just read.
You're a man. You're a man of literature. I like.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get into some actual news. We're going to go through the coaching roundabout that has occurred. I'm going to rattle off a few, the few of the big ones, and then we'll have a bit of a chat about it. So, the Panthers have hired former Colts head coach Frank Reich as their head coach. I won't ruin the stats that Danny's got on him. The Jets have hired Nathaniel Hackett, the former Bronco, as their offensive coordinator, as a quick hire. Patriots hired back offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien. He has been in there in the past. The Cowboys have absolutely cleared house. They've let go their offensive line coach, their running back coach, defensive assistant, defensive line assistant, assistant head coach, and now offensive coordinator Kellen Moore as well. So they have just cleared. If you want a job, just go to Dallas, and you'll probably have a chance of getting one. Speaking of Kellen Moore, he's gone and signed at the Chargers. It was said that he was a mutual agreement to leave, but I do find it a bit strange that he's gone from OC to OC job. I thought the last few years he's been thrown up as a head coaching role, but I guess there's a lot of things that come into that, and a lot more time as a head coach, so that could be part of it. And the two big ones from this week, the Texans have hired D'Amico Ryans as their head coach and thrown him a 6-year deal straight up. He's a former Texan, so that's pretty big by them. And Sean Payton, he looks to be going. Well, he is. I think he's going to Denver. I don't have the exact.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have the compensation? That is all the hires that I have so far. There's probably more, but we don't need to go too deep into it. Do either of you have the compensation that he's got?
Yeah. So Denver is sending their 2023 first round pick and its 2024 second round pick.
Right.
There you go.
Happy with that? Good hire, bad hire? We'll go with the three head coaches. So Frank Reich. This one first. Good or bad hire? Good call, Caro. Bad.
O'Brien. To me, O'Brien was apparently the Broncos'
first pick due to the compensation they'll get. Peyton being obviously Peyton being such an offensive guru. Had a better year than his previous year. So I think was to try and turn around by having a bit more of an offensive mind and see if they can do a little bit better this season.
Carts, good or bad?
Yeah, well, essentially he's got to fix Russell, doesn't he? And probably fix, I guess, the whole scheme that they had this year. Well, I don't know. Did they have a scheme this year? Probably, maybe not. But he's got his work cut out for him. They do have a reasonably good roster. Like defensively, they're pretty sound. They just need to fix things on the offensive side of the ball. And, he's an offensive-minded coach. So fix Russell, and that'll go a long way to fixing the Broncos, obviously. So, good hire. But a lot of compensation to give up. And I think that was obviously a bit of a sticking point and why Ryans was still sort of in the conversation to a point. I think just sort of working at that with New Orleans.
I agree. I think is a good hire. He's got the pedigree to win with a smaller, aggressive quarterback. He had Peyton at New Orleans. So
he is Peyton.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, he had Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. He had Drew Brees.
I was going to let you flounder, but I didn't like the potential dead air there.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm on the YouTube, so I'm already on to the next question. But yeah, I think it's a good hire. So it's whether, it's so much dependent. Like he had such a bad year, Russell, that realistically they can only go up. So I think a good hire. But the next one, D'Amico Ryan. Vincent said it's an amazing hire. What do you reckon, Carts?
I agree. Played there. He was a captain there. His wife obviously still heavily tied to Houston with family and whatnot. So he's going to be reasonably settled going in, which is a great thing. Houston just need to give him time. They don't have a very strong roster. I think they signed into a 6-year deal. So obviously they've been through, this is their third head coach in as many years. So they just need a bit of stability. Give him time to build a culture, get a roster, and then, don't just fire him next year. He's more than likely he's not going to have a winning season next year. Give him time, but I think it's a great hire.
And I think they know
Danielle?
Yeah, I think they know that winning season next year, and that's why they did give
someone I know it's happened before, but you really hope they're
going
going
to
to
fire someone. Next year into a 6-year deal. Like 5 years is a long time to be paying someone. Peyton.
Yeah.
And if someone does want to pick him up, or
it's going to be compensation.
is that right?
TMac?
Correct.
Yeah,
if he's
you
still under contract.
Yeah, he's still under contract.
that
So
rule this year.
So with all of that,
I think
smart hire.
a defensive-minded coach, it will be good for give him some form of consistency, and hopefully he stays for the whole 6 years and can actually do something with the franchise.
Yeah. I reckon $800 million suggests that you can fire someone halfway through a contract, but that's another discussion for a previous day.
Dead money paid to people that are no longer working in
working in the building. Yeah, so I reckon there is a chance that you don't last your contract.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying not last.
But yeah, give him a chance.
It just gives you a bit more assurance.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder what Hackett's contract was.
Well, and I think the fan base probably want to see a bit of consistency too. Like,
yeah,
you just
they're the newest fan base. 96, I reckon they came in. So yeah, they definitely need some. I think one thing, and you've heard it here first. Literally just come up with it just now. Him and JJ Watt are pretty tight, so I wouldn't be surprised that maybe not next year. Give him a year off. Year after that, JJ Watt finds himself back at the Texans in some capacity.
Yeah, I think he's been tweeting and stuff already. Like, he's pretty stoked that D'Amico's got the job. So yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, he'll be there in some capacity. For sure, he'll be in the building.
And lucky last, Danny, we'll throw to you, Frank Reich. Good or bad call?
So
Frank Reich, QB in the Panthers' first ever game in 19 history there with the Panthers. I think
he needed someone.
Do a little bit with the franchise as well.
Nice. You wrapped that up pretty quick.
No, I've got more.
Carts, what do you got for us?
Hey, go for it, Danny boy.
Sure, though. It's your world. We're just living in it.
No. Carts, take it away.
Obviously, Frank got fired from the Colts this year. Yeah, cool little stat. Obviously, going back he was their first quarterback, threw their first touchdown pass, all that sort of stuff. So there's that sentimental connection there. I don't know. I think he's an offensive coach. I actually don't know that much about Frank. I do know the Panthers owner is the second wealthiest in the league. So there's a lot of money there to play with. What does that mean? Anything? I don't know. Yeah, I've probably got about as much as what Danny just gave you there. I'm going to say good call.
That's the first offensive-minded head coach for Carolina. He's 40-33.
There you go. I knew that.
You're right. You're right on the money. TMac?
Good or bad hire?
I'm watching. You watch me flounder a lot. I'm just loving watching you just paddle here. Just keep going. This is great. Nah, I think much the same as the Texans. I think it's probably a good hire. Bring the culture back to Carolina. You know, I don't know if they lost it a little bit. Steve Karts, you might need to help me out. The guy who took over,
the interim coach.
Yeah, he seemed to bring the culture back. You know, they were playing for each other. They didn't have huge names, but they were getting the job done. You know, 2 out of every 3 weeks, and actually had a winning record after they. You know, we said they were blowing up. So
yeah, Steve Wilkes.
Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, that was after they cleared house. They got rid of McCaffrey, and who else left?
Anderson left in a bit of a spiteful the wide receiver, Robbie Anderson. He seemed a little bit spiteful between him and might have been his wide receiver coach or maybe the offensive. I'm not sure. But, yeah, just seemed to galvanise the team a little bit. So, yeah, and they put a video up on their socials where Reich was, when he first came to be the quarterback, he was holding up the jersey. He's like, yeah, it's a nice colour. It's cool. And then they did it with him. He's like, yeah, no, it's still a nice colour. You know, it was pretty.
Yeah.
It was cool that way. I reckon he'll bring back the culture. And same, they can't be going in there thinking we're going to be a winning season next year. Just the building blocks, build a house. Let's build our way back to, it wasn't that long ago they had Cam Newton at the helm taking him to the Super Bowl. So
that's right. Yeah, and a lot of the comments in the chat are that Frank will bring stability and he'll help build that culture, which definitely what the Panthers need to move forward after what was a bit of a dumpster fire of a season for him this year.
Yeah. Do you have anything to fish with there, Danny, or yes?
I've got a question for you.
Oh shit! Hang on. Do we want a question without notice? Or...
Go.
No, you're right.
No.
Or do you want it? All right, hang on. I'll give it to you.
It's time for questions without notice.
I'll give you the will.
So
Go.
You've been tormenting me with that exact clip. That's what I wanted to hear.
Can you name and say to the people
in the chat, can you name the 4
play for?
Oh.
All right. So I reckon you've given me one. The Panthers. You started the Panthers. I know he was part of the Bills. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. He was
because I reckon he was part of the biggest. Yeah, that's what I meant. I reckon he was part of the biggest ever comeback. Maybe in playoffs history, possibly. So he Bills to Panthers. That's I'm going to say.
It was 95 to 94, but it was the Panthers.
Cast, I've got 2. How are you going?
This isn't my question.
I'm going to say that he would have gone to somewhere, maybe Atlanta. This is pure guessing.
It's just baseball.
Yeah.
Put it out of the misery, Danny.
The played for was the Jets in 96 and then the Lions in 97.
Yeah. He's in my division, but probably pre-me, to be honest.
Pre-me. Frankie, he gets around a bit.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
No, nice. That's all you've got? That's nothing else?
That's it. That was just the one.
I've got a question without notice for you.
Oh, for fuck. All right, go. What do you got? This is my segment, not yours.
So, how do you feel about, and this is from Megs, how do you feel about the possibility that Lazard, through free agency, may be heading to Seattle?
I have something for you and possibly Megs, just of courtesy of a friend of mine. I just rang him up and I said, can you just record something for me? So
keep my team's name out your fucking mouth.
Will Smith just popped up and said, look, just shut up. Keep my team's name. Just keep my team's name out your mouth, all right? We do not need, this has nothing to do with the Packers. So I thank a good friend of mine, Wilbur. He was happy to.
So you don't want to talk about Allen or Rodgers potentially leaving?
No, we can talk about it. This is perfect timing because we actually are finished. So let's go to the fam. All right. So Lazard and Rodgers leaving. I'm kind of the opinion that I'll believe it when I see it. Like, I know there's a lot of stories about Rodgers, especially that he's on the way out. And, that they're talking and dealing without him knowing. I'm sure things like that do happen. But I'll kind of believe it when I see it. And then when I do see it, I won't believe it. So I'm really caught up between the two. Lazard, I could probably see him leaving more only because he's out of free agency now. Or he's in free agency now. So he's realistically good enough to get some big offers from a lot of people. So... yeah, I could see him going, which would be a shame because he's one of ours. But doesn't mean we lose him. He'll probably still be one of ours because I am in contact with his agent pretty regularly. So it'll be a shame. I'm a huge fan of Lazard, so I don't want to.
And you know I'm bullish on them Seahawks, so he can still stay our man for sure.
Any other? What else?
I'd love to see him at Seattle. Him and Gino get a nice little connection going. Oof, hell yeah!
No thanks.
Yes, please.
Yeah, with Matthew, he's not going in the NFC. They don't want to. They want to lose to him in the Super Bowl, not in the regular season of the NFC Championship. If Rodgers does go. Any other? What else have we got from the fan, mate? You're our fan man.
There's just been a few pots at you here and there, but I think we've got.
Oh, what have I done?
We've got to most of them. Wayno was bringing up that Rodgers is going to leave the Packers. Obviously, we just touched on that.
What, my Wayno?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Wayno.
Matty brought up an interesting one. Does Chicago trade Justin Fields? I sort of said no. I don't think so. I think they hang on to him. Like second half of the year, they started to show a little bit, the Bears. So I think they held on to him.
Did they?
No.
They finished last.
They were showing a little bit.
Yeah, but they went towards the instead.
What did they get for?
I don't think there'd be too many people chasing him. Yeah, I don't know.
If they didn't trade, that's the real question. Or are they better sticking with him?
I think they stick with him.
Yeah, I don't think they get much back at all. Like I don't mind him as a QB, but he just hasn't. I don't think he's got the trade value yet because he hasn't put together enough. He definitely went towards. He had a good win. Was it New England maybe? But he was pretty much a second running back.
It was, yeah. It was definitely New England. Yeah.
Like he didn't. If teams will work him out pretty quickly, and I think I'd rather him rushing for 80 yards than throwing for 350. Like I reckon he's going to be less dangerous doing that, and that's what he was doing towards the back end of pretty much every game in the back end of the season.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, there's heaps of chat going around about that. As a quarterback.
Are they the number one? Did Houston get number one or did they get number one?
I believe they've got number one.
Okay, so I think we'll learn pretty quickly what their intentions are, whether they're getting another QB or not.
Yeah, true.
Ravens have two starters in Lamar and Huntley, yeah. And Huntley's now in the AFC Pro Bowl.
They got to get that deal done with Lamar.
Yeah.
Or is it just going to be as simple as a franchise tag?
For Lamar, yeah. But do you reckon they do the exclusive or leave it as non-exclusive?
Well, they just leave themselves open if they don't. I mean, it's going to cost them a little bit more, but ultimately, if they want to keep him, it's got to be exclusive, doesn't it?
I reckon the tag numbers have come out. I'll have a look. You keep talking about whether they do or not.
I think they do. Yeah, I think they do. They don't want to risk losing. Like they want to keep him. It's just they're hesitant. They were just hesitant on that big money. I think just worried about injuries. But ultimately, it comes down to exclusive or just franchise. Yeah, I see they keeping him with an exclusive franchise tag.
Danny, what do? You exclusive or non-exclusive him?
Like too skilled, not.
Ooh.
Especially with all the open spots, at quarterback.
It goes somewhere.
It goes somewhere, and they want to hang on to him for sure.
Yeah, no, to your point there, you're exactly right, Danny. There's too many franchises in need of a quarterback that would happily snap him up.
Snap him up straight.
Risk. If you can't get a deal done, you're not going to risk not exclusive tagging him.
Not at all.
I'm sorry for this dead air. I found it. I'm just waiting for this photo to load. This will be the
awesome.
prices. It's coming. Oh, Tom Pelissero is killing me.
Oh, I'm just trying to read the. A lot of the chat is saying, yeah, he stays at the Ravens, going to be tagged. Oh no, Matty said Lamar to the Dolphins if Tua has concussion issues in the future, maybe, but that won't play out till next year. Like Tua's still going to be at the Dolphins for next year, so that won't play out till at least next year.
Right. So
Reese.
non-exclusive. Sorry. I've got it here. No, he's not on a deal. He just gets franchise tags every year.
Yeah.
So next year will be 32 million, but if he was exclusive, it's the top 5 from this year. So there's a 50 million, there's a couple of, so it'll be 50, it'll be pretty much $18 million more they'll have to pay.
Which, at the end of the day, is that much money for a NFL franchise?
Aren't they?
I think they take it.
So I've just gone onto the YouTube. I see Wayno says he saw the sign "Choose Love." That was on the back on the helmets. They have the. I know the NBA did a lot of it where they were putting signage on their jerseys and stuff like that. They do that on the back of their helmets, and I think Patrick Mahomes has "Choose Love," and Wayno sent me a message saying it's a sign from above saying that they're going with Jordan Love over Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think so.
That's hilarious. I was trying to make sense of that. Sorry, Wayno. I didn't quite understand what that meant, Wayno, but that makes sense now. So Megs is just asking to explain the difference between the tags.
Yeah,
so
okay.
You run that?
So the franchise tag is what 99% of players will get, and that's the top 5 salaries from your position, averaged out over the last 5 years. And exclusive is top 5 salaries from the year just gone. And also, if you're non-exclusive, people can offer 2 first-round picks. I don't know if that's just for the quarterback or if it's for every position, but 2 first-round picks, and they can
assume it's dependent on
claim
the position, but yeah.
And they can claim you. And then, so if it's Lamar, then Baltimore would have to either match or up the offer to keep him. So that's the difference between the two.
Yeah, so an exclusive franchise tag is going to cost them more money to keep him, but more likely to hang on to him.
Well, no one can touch him for another year at least.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're essentially paying for the ability to keep him for another year.
Yeah. All right, I reckon we're starting to dribble a little bit too much. Cardi's had a few of those acais and stuff. We do not have a multi at the moment. I'm sure one of us can chuck one up over the weekend that we can get around. There's not much sport. Probably can you bet on the Pro Bowl? Or is it too much of a friendly that you probably don't want to bet on that? I probably wouldn't, but we'll see if there's some markets. Otherwise, I reckon, Danny, do you reckon you could throw an NBA one up for us?
I can 100% throw an NBA one up for you.
All right, so we'll put that on the socials, the Twitters, the Instagrams, all the other ones.
And quickly, just to answer Meg's question, she said, if Seattle tagged Geno, which one would it be? That would just be a franchise tag. They wouldn't go exclusive.
I can't see them going exclusive. No, that'll just be normal. So they'd be paying 32. 32 are the best.
And Geno's getting paid, for sure.
Oh, we put it out there. A few people.
Yeah, Geno wants to stay, but he'll get paid. Seattle will pay him.
3 years,
Yeah,
100 million. That'll be up.
Yeah.
He wants to be there.
Like, Seattle was,
Seattle's not getting these. They're not paying for it. It's good on him. So it should.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Well done, boys. I reckon we were struggling a little bit to think that this was going to be an interesting episode, but I reckon we've done pretty bloody well.
Mate, we've made we've turned water into wine.
Yeah. Only because it's Pro Bowl week, and we thought
because it's a dead week this week. Obviously, the Super Bowl another week away, but we fumbled our way there.
We did well. Thanks to Tom Brady for retiring to give us something to really talk about during the middle, and good luck to him. But no, next week we are planning. Hopefully, if we can get our ducks in a line, alive, which we are live now, but with all 3 of us in the same room, so that'd be pretty unreal.
Yeah, watch this space. We'll be working on that during the week.
It'll be out on the socials. Which day?
Our 3 rude heads all in there together. What could go wrong?
Yeah, plenty.
where we can get in.
If we can get in. So just keep your eye on the socials.
Availability.
We'll keep you
All right. One last thing. What are you laughing at, Cards?
Sorry, Megan's just saying thanks, but then also thanks to Green Bay for Lazard. she's a dog with a bone. She wants to see you sad, and
Keep my team's name out your fucking mouth.
Will Smith's back. He says,
Will,
"Shut up."
No, I can't agree with Megs more. I want to see you sad.
That's harsh. That's harsh. All right, well, let's wrap this up before everyone keeps having a go at me. If you do enjoy this podcast, tell your friends, your family, and your Kiwi mates. They are getting around us, and we are going global. Give us a 5-star rating. Yeah, absolutely. Give us a 5-star rating even. Leave a review. Set a little timer, especially on YouTube, so you do know when we're here and you can have a chat with us on the socials. Find us on all of them. AGSAU podcast on Twitter. The boys, I went through your one earlier. Instagrams, anygivensunday.au. TikTok, Facebook, Any Given Sunday Australia. YouTube, which you are most listening to now, is Any Given Sunday Australia podcast. Thank you, boys. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers. Thank you, Alan Lazard. Go the Packers. And
new merch on the way.
Great chat. Yeah, for those who have hung on, new merch is actually being ordered, and it'll be here.
There won't be many left, but
soon.
These will be the first people to get in.
Yeah, well done. Well done to those who have hung on. Yeah, so we do have it's on the way. It'll be here within 10 days.
Yeah, beautiful.
Chef's kiss. See you, boys.
See you, fam.